Yo, what's up guys? Joey, and today, man, coming guys with my opinion, the top 10 2023 NBA free agents and where I think they will go to. I've been making these type of videos for now about 2 to 3 years. Today we have the 2023 NBA free agents, and this class is honestly pretty stacked. So we're gonna get into lots of video, but other than that, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so starting it off at number 10, we have Austin Reaves of the LA Lakers. Austin Reaves just had a career year, averaged 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3.4 assists, shot 52.9% from the field and 39.8% from 3, which is basically 53% from the field and 40% from 3. And he also playmaked the basketball a lot better than he did last season as well. So he improved in terms of playmaking, things of that nature as well. He improved in getting to the rim, kind of baiting fouls. He watched a lot of James Harden, and you can see that in his game where he tries to bait a ton of fouls. He had a lot more good moments in the playoffs than he did in bad moments, and this is a guy that I really just don't see the Lakers letting go, which is why I have Austin Reaves returning to the LA Lakers. Austin Reaves was a guy that really had to grow on me. I watched a ton of Lakers games this season. I definitely had to give him his props, give him respect, especially for that series against the Memphis Grizzlies where he absolutely hooped. I know he had some down moments against the Warriors in that series, but still Austin Reaves is a guy that I just do not see the Lakers not returning. If I'm not mistaken, he also is a restricted free agent, so that would make sense. He ended up taking the starting job and did not let go of that at all, especially in the second half of the season to the playoffs as well. Austin Reaves, in my opinion, will be returning to the Los Angeles Lakers. All right, so coming in at number 9, we have Nikola Vucevic of the Chicago Bulls, who they went ahead and acquired a couple years back. In my opinion, a pretty piss poor trade that just recently concluded. They traded away Wendell Carter Jr. to the Orlando Magic, and also traded away 2 first-round picks. And those first-round picks ended up being Franz Wagner, who has been really good in the NBA in his first 2 years in the league, and recently picking up Jett Howard from the Michigan Wolverines with the 11th overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. Nikola Vucevic last year averaged 17.6 points per game, 11 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists, and shot 52% from the field. Nikola Vucevic is one of those guys that I also believe will end up returning to the Chicago Bulls. There was a rumor that he may take a quote-unquote hometown discount, something of that nature, just to be retained by the Chicago Bulls. Apparently there was an encounter with him and the fan asked him, "Are you coming back to the Bulls?" He's like, "Absolutely," apparently. So I think he really is returning to the Bulls. It makes sense. Probably somewhere around $20 million a year. I still think Nikola Vucevic is a good center in this league. Obviously, his flaws are defensively, but he is a guy that can space the floor, that can rebound with the best of them in the league, especially at the center position, making your center kind of guard him out because he can pick and pop with the best of them in the NBA. So I do think Nikola Vucevic will go ahead and return to the Chicago Bulls this offseason. All right, so coming in at number 8, we have Jerami Grant of the Portland Trailblazers, who I personally believe just had his career season and the best year of his career. Jerami Grant went out, and after being acquired from the Pistons for, I believe, a future first pick, if I'm not mistaken, he went ahead and averaged 20.5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 2.4 assists, while shooting 47.5% from the field and a whopping 40.1% from 3. But it's not like those were on minimal attempts. Jerami Grant was averaging 5.7 3-point attempts per game. So Jerami Grant is an absolute bucket. He just had a career season in a contract season, which you absolutely love to see. As in contract seasons, you want to be giving out the best product and showing teams around the world that you're still that guy, and that is exactly what Jerami Grant did. Had a really good season along the legs of a Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons as well. Unfortunately for them, the Blazers season really did not get going after the hot start. So outside of that, Jerami Grant had a really good season, and he was very efficient, and I think he will absolutely get paid. Apparently, he's in the market for $30 million a year. I'm not saying I'm willing to pay Jerami Grant $30 million a year, but want to sell it 20, maybe $25 million a year, we can talk, just because of how efficient he was, how good of a player he was, how every team can really use a guy like a Jerami, guy that can space the floor, that can rebound, has good defensive versatility as well. He's just an all-around really good player, very underrated. I love to see him in a winning culture as well, but depending on the season, how the offseason goes, I guess we'll see in terms of that. But I have Jeremy Grant going ahead and returning to the Portland Trail Blazers. Apparently Damian Lillard wants a Jeremy Grant back, and there's a rumor that he apparently wants a quote-unquote big three of himself, Jeremy Grant, and Draymond Green, which would not be a big three in my opinion, but that definitely would be a interesting combination of players, an interesting trade to say the least. But Jeremy Grant, in my opinion, is a really good player in this league, and I do see him returning to the Portland Trail Blazers. All right, so coming out of number 7, we have another guy that just came off a career season. We have Kyle Kuzma of the Washington Wizards, who averaged 21.2 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, and shot 44.8% from the field and 33.3% from the three-point line. Kyle Kuzma had a breakout season, and he had a all-star-esque season in my opinion. It was really as a three-level scorer in the mid-range and also attacking the rim as well. He really just had a monster season in my opinion, especially in my opinion when guys like Porzingis and Beal were out due to their various injuries, especially Beal. He would be the #1 guy, and he would be absolutely doing this thing. So for that, I honestly see Kyle Kuzma getting a ton of money because he had a career year and a contract season. So that right there is a recipe for success. Kyle Kuzma has already won a championship with the Lakers in the bubble against my Heat. Unfortunately, he already has a ring, so Kyle Kuzma can go out, get his bag, and do all that. But I see Kyle Kuzma staying in a winning environment. Not really a winning environment last season. My bad, Wizards fans. I'm gonna say he's gonna go to a winning environment and actually change it up for once. I have Kyle Kuzma heading to the Sacramento Kings. Who is the Kings power forward currently, you might ask? Harrison Barnes. Oh wait, he's an unrestricted free agent, and he may return maybe in a backup role. He definitely did not have a great season whatsoever for the Sacramento Kings, especially in the playoffs, missing that 1-3 against the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, that was not it at all. I have Kyle Kuzma heading to the Sacramento Kings on around like a 4-year deal, upwards of $20 million a year. I saw a rumor he was looking for like $30 million a year. Now Kuzma, my boy, respectfully, $30 million is crazy. But I do see him going to the Sacramento Kings, returning to California, and I do see him going along to be paired with the likes of Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox and Keegan Murray and Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter. I do see that looking pretty well. That's a massive upgrade over the likes of a Harrison Barnes, even though Harrison Barnes is the veteran of that kind of, I would say, pretty young Sacramento Kings team, a team that just made the playoffs for the first time since Stevie was black and white. First time in my lifetime I seen the Sacramento Kings in the playoffs. I see them going ahead and making a nice splash and getting Kyle Kuzma and making him their new starting power forward. All right, so coming in at number 6, we have an NBA champion, multiple-time NBA champion. We have Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green is a very interesting guy because if you don't actually watch him, you just look at his stat sheet, you're like, why is this guy so hyped up? Why is he garnering this much amount of money? Why is he? You just would not understand if you just don't watch the game. Just look at the stat sheet, because you look at the stats: 8.5 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 6.8 assists per game, shooting 52.7% from the field. You would be like, oh, that's a nice solid guy, but I'm not giving this guy $100 million. Draymond Green is still easily one of the best defenders in the NBA. He, if I'm not mistaken, finished top 5, maybe even top 3 for Defensive Player of the Year. He also has Defensive Player of the Year already on his resume. He's one of the best defenders in the league. He also is one of the best playmakers in the league as well, and also a really good rebound, especially for a team outside of Kevon Looney. Does lack that size. Draymond Green is the guy as well with big heart. He hustles. Now Draymond Green can get a bit hot-headed, but he definitely is a guy you would love to have on your team. And obviously the likes of the core, the nucleus of the Warriors, they absolutely adore him. The Stephen Currys, the Klay Thompsons, and him, they are the trio for a reason. So Draymond Green is a guy that is an interesting player. Shot 52.7% from the field, 30.5% from 3. He does it all except for shooting the basketball. Now he'll make the occasional 3. He's actually pretty solid at attacking the rim as well. Draymond Green is a guy, again, I just do not see leaving the Golden State Warriors. So I have Draymond Green going ahead and returning to the Golden State Warriors on a contract, maybe upwards of over $100 million. This is going to be probably the last big contract of Draymond Green's career, as he's now 33 years old. So might as well just get this contract right off into the sunset and potentially pick up another NBA Finals. Why not at this point? So I saw a rumor about the Sacramento Kings. I think they're gonna go ahead and get the likes of a Kyle Kuzma, so that will really just take off the likes of Draymond Green, in my opinion. But like I said, I do have Draymond Green returning to the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors would not be the Warriors, in my opinion, without Draymond Green. The ultimate do-it-all guy, the ultimate glue guy, the ultimate just, he fits what they're trying to do so perfectly with dribble handoffs and playmaking, rebounding, defending. He does it all for that team, and I do not see him leaving them at all. I will be pleasantly surprised and pleasantly shocked if Draymond Green ends up leaving the Golden State Warriors. All right, so coming at number 5, we have Brook Lopez of the Milwaukee Bucks. Brook Lopez just had a really good season, in my opinion, and he's a guy that a lot of teams should be interested in because he is one of the best defenders in basketball, especially one of the best rim protectors in basketball, and he can space the floor with the best of them in the league as well. He's an absolutely phenomenal shooter, pretty good rebounder, and he is an elite shot blocker in this league, who just came off a season in which he averaged 15.9 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, 1.3 assists, and shot 53.1% from the field, including 37.4% from 3. Brook Lopez is 35 years old, but has shown no signs of slowing down at all. A guy that has transcended his game from a post player on the Nets. Don't forget, Brook Lopez has the most career points in Brooklyn Nets history, and that was mostly as a post player, and now he's transcended his game into being one of the best stretch bigs in the league. Brook Lopez is a guy that every contender, man, even rebuilding teams should be going out to look for him. Brook Lopez already in the championship a couple years back with the Milwaukee Bucks over the Phoenix Suns. He's 35 years old. This probably will be the last big contract of his career, so I would not be surprised where Brook Lopez goes. But in my opinion, on a team that's still contending, and a team with one of the best players in the NBA, I'm gonna go ahead and say that. I'm gonna say Brook Lopez is gonna head back to the Milwaukee Bucks. It's kind of the last big contract of his career. The 4-5 of Giannis and Brook Lopez is absolutely lethal. Bobby Portis returning as the 6th man. You still have the likes of Jrue Holiday and a decision on Chris Middleton. So I do see him returning to the Milwaukee Bucks. In my opinion, it just makes way too much sense. That 4-5 of Giannis and him, so lethal. He's played really well with them. And they just got a new head coach, Adrian Griffin, formerly of the Toronto Raptors, assistant coaching wise. I do see Brook Lopez returning to the Milwaukee Bucks, in my opinion. All right, so on to number 4. We had a guy that, in my opinion, had a pretty underwhelming season, but he is still about to get paid. We have Fred VanVleet of the Toronto Raptors. Fred VanVleet is another interesting guy because I do think he still is a pretty good player in this league. He just did not have the type of season you want to have in a contract year, as he averaged 19.3 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 7.2 assists, and shot a whopping 39.3% from the field. You do not understand how piss poor that really is. He also shot 34.2% from 3, which is right around, I would say, the average of the NBA, maybe even slightly above average. But he just simply did not have this type of season you want to have when you're right on the cusp of getting a major bag. I definitely want to see what his market is looking like. Apparently he wants quote-unquote Tyler Hero money, which is around $30 million a year that my Heat went out and paid Hero last offseason. He is a very interesting guy. Toronto Raptors currently do not have a starting point guard, in my opinion. They went out and drafted Grady Dick with the 14th overall pick, as they're potentially going to try to go out and acquire the likes of a Keontae George in the first round, slipping to 16 to the Jazz. So the Toronto Raptors, in my opinion, then they will go ahead and re-sign Fred VanVleet, maybe on like a nice 3-year deal. Fred VanVleet, I don't know what his market is looking like right now. I thought potentially the Orlando Magic, they went ahead and drafted Anthony Black with the 6th overall pick, so that really just kills them, and they have so many guards already. So I'm gonna say Fred VanVleet's market will be limited, in my opinion. I think he will have to go ahead and return to the Toronto Raptors. All right, so coming in at number 3, you have another NBA champion. We have Chris Middleton, aka Cash Money Middleton. Chris Middleton is one of the best number 2 options in the NBA, and at points he can take over not only a series but also a game and win you a game, and he is shown to be a pretty clutch player in the NBA as well. Middleton this season dealt with a plethora of injuries as he was only able to play 33 of a possible 82 games, and that really, in my opinion, really tanked a good amount of his value, as the durability is a concern, and he's now 31 years old and just was on a year where he didn't even play half the games, but he did go out and average 15.1 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, 4.9 assists, 43.6% from the field, and shot 31.5% from 3, also shooting a really high percentage, 90.2% from the free throw line. Middleton is a really just potent, really nice, calm, cool, and collected scorer overall. I got a lot of teams I think we'll be interested in. Maybe a little bit concerned of his injuries, but we know he's a really good number 2 option in this league, and he did that on his way to winning his first career NBA Finals with Antetokounmpo. Teams will be interested in Chris Middleton, but at the end of the day, I do see him going ahead and returning to the Milwaukee Bucks, continuing to absolutely kill the mid-range shot, continuing to absolutely cook alongside Giannis and Drew and Brook Lopez. I do see that nucleus in that core sticking together for at least a couple more seasons, in my opinion, which is why I have Middleton returning to the Milwaukee Bucks. All right, so coming in at number 2, we have James Harden of the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, a couple days ago, I had a different prediction just because of what happened throughout the NBA draft, but James Harden still had last year a really good season as he averaged 21 points per game, 6.1 rebounds, 10.7 assists, 44.1% from the field, and also 38.5% from 3 on around 7 attempts per game. James Harden had a really good season last year. He didn't make the All-Star team, but he still had a really good season. James Harden still has stuff left in the tank. Do not get it twisted. He absolutely played well as a number 2 option to Joel Embiid. They had a really nice 2-man game. He was one of the best playmakers in the NBA last season, I believe. He also led the league in assists as well, and he was still a top 30 scorer in the NBA as well. Shot pretty well from 3. From the field, he could have shot probably around 45%. I would have made it look even better, but still, he also averaged 1.2 steals per game. So he was getting those steals, getting in the passing lanes, playmaking the ball at an elite level, shooting really well from 3, and doing this as a number 2 option. I really thought he was in my opinion, head back to the Houston Rockets, but they went ahead a couple days back and they drafted Amen Thompson with the number 4 overall pick out of Overtime Elite, right in front of his brother, Ausar Thompson, who got picked number 5 by the Pistons, also out of Overtime Elite, which is pretty cool. First brothers ever to get picked back to back, especially in the top 5. That has to be a surreal feeling. Shout out to the Thompson twins. But for that reason, I'm going to say he's going to end up returning to the Philadelphia 76ers, as the Rockets have a guard trio really now of Amen Thompson and Jalen Green, which I believe will be their backcourt of the future. And don't forget, they also have Kevin Porter Jr., who's on a pretty weird contract, not really guaranteed, but kind of stipulations here and there. So I don't see him returning to the Houston Rockets, in my opinion. I think he basically is prematurely a lock, in my opinion, to return to the 76ers, who really just can't really afford to let him go, and then that will probably be the domino effect with Joel Embiid potentially asking out. Yeah, you have to re-sign James Harden, in my opinion, went out, and also just got Nick Nurse, a really good head coach in this league, so it makes sense to bring back the list of James Harden, in my opinion, which I have him returning to the Philadelphia 76ers and running it back with Joel Embiid. All right, so coming in at number 1, we have potentially the most interesting free agent this offseason. We have Kyrie Irving of the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving is so interesting because we know how good of a player he is when he's on the court, but he dealt with so much last season off the court that some teams definitely are swayed from acquiring the likes of a guy like a Kyrie Irving. But we know when he's on the court, he's one of the best players in the NBA, which voted in as a all-star game starter. He is so good, so crafty, one of the most entertaining, exciting, just so fun to watch him do his thing. Kyrie Irving is a really great player in this league, but I'm telling you, there's something about what happened last season that teams will be swayed to acquire the likes of him, as he had a really good season. He was 8th in the league last year in points. He averaged 27.1 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, 5.5 assists, shot 49.4% from the field, and 37.9% from the three-point line. Kyrie Irving also shot 90.5% from three. He's the definition of a three-level scorer. He's really good in three, really good in the mid-range, really crafty, get into the rim, but a nice layup package. And he is one of the best flat-out dribblers, one of the best flat-out handles in NBA history. He's incredibly entertaining, and this is a guy that any team, in my opinion, should be able to, I would go ahead and kick tires on Kyrie Irving just because of how gifted of a player he is, even though off-the-court concerns, in my opinion, his game offloads that, in my humble opinion. I do ultimately see Kyrie Irving ending up with the Dallas Mavericks and running it back with Luka Doncic and seeing how that goes along. Now, there was a rumor a couple months ago from Shams that apparently he was trying to recruit LeBron to Dallas, and that was interesting in my opinion, that he wouldn't want to just go play in LA, which been rumored for at least over a year now. He wants to instead build something with Luka Doncic, himself, and LeBron James, which would be absolutely insane trio. But I don't see that happening. I do see Kyrie Irving returning to the Dallas Mavericks. I see LeBron staying. Obviously, LeBron just went to USC. Why would he want to go to Dallas? I mean, come on now. I do see Kyrie returning to the Dallas Mavericks, running it back with Luka Doncic. That duo hopefully is going to be better this season with more continuity and more chemistry with those two, because we know those two are easily has to be the best offensive backcourt in the NBA. I mean, you have a superstar in Luka Doncic and a guy that's a fringe superstar in Kyrie Irving when he's playing at his best. I mean, that's insane right there. That's insane. Mark Cuban better than made the same mistake he made last year, letting go of Jalen Brunson, letting him walk to the New York Knicks to get nothing back for him. And Jalen Brunson had a career year, had an all-star level season, probably should have been an all-star, right on the fringe of it at the very least, and had a phenomenal playoffs, especially because my Miami Heat. You cannot let that happen to Kyrie Irving, because you can't. You traded away Dorian Finney-Smith in the first round pick. You better bring him back or try to trade him or something, because Mavericks fans, they are not playing about Kyrie Irving, that's for sure. Like I said, I do see Kyrie Irving returning to the Dallas Mavericks, running back with Luka Doncic. So yeah, y'all, that is my top 10 list of the 2023 NBA hits, but I think they're going to go to. I can do a part 2 to this as well, top 11 to 20, depending on how this goes along. But wait and see. So this video is about 3 days away. On Friday, I'm recording this on Tuesday, the 27th of June. So I can't not wait for that. Comment below in you guys' opinions as well. Any predictions that you guys have, anything you want to see, any fans of these teams, what do you guys think about these acquisitions potentially? But in my opinion, I feel like this is a pretty good list. A lot of continuity, a lot of staying the same, a couple of not too many changes. I think there's going to be a year where the top 3 brands going to come back to the same team. Just, I don't know. I'm just having that kind of thought right there, in my opinion. But other than that, yo, that is the video. So go down below, drop a like, comment down below, sub up, just follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. Boy John. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm out, man. Peace.